Okay, I'll do an quick introduction and then I'll have others introduce themselves. I'm Laura Davis. I'm with NOFA Mass. I've been coordinating the Transition to Organic Partnership Program for NOFA Mass and NOFA Rhode Island. And it's been a great program, and this has been a really great four-course session working with the Western Mass Food Processing Center on value-added production beyond the harvest and also how to certify value-added products. So we're looking forward to the final presentation today. Um, I will say that if any of you need additional assistance, you're welcome to utilize the Center for their expertise. All you need to do is reach out and ask questions about your specific food product. So with that, I'll let Kate and Liz introduce themselves.
All right, I'm Liz Buxton, and I've been working at the Food Processing Center for 13 years now. Before that, I had over 40 years of experience in different facets of food and food service and food production. Um, and we have been organic certified here and certifying and supporting organic producers for my whole tenure here.
And I'm Kate. I work at the Food Processing Center with Liz. I'm our Farm and Food Products Program Director. I like to call myself Liz's manager. I just get Liz in front of people to share her wisdom.
Yes, the question in the chat, we will be sharing the recording. The first two of the four are currently on NofaMass YouTube channel for you to see. The one from last week we had a little problem with because of some of the AI note takers that interfered with our production. So it'll be a little bit different format. It'll be, you'll have the slides and you'll have the recording, but you won't have the video, unfortunately. But we will also record, we are recording now and we'll share that video with you through YouTube. So wonderful. Did anybody want to come off mute quick and introduce themselves? You're not, you don't have to, don't want to put you on the spot, but be happy to say hello.
Hi, I'm Jen Brown. I'm in Harrison County in West Virginia. I'm the operations manager of Appalachian Cellar, and we are new to this game. We are just now building out a manufacturing co-pack facility for dry goods. So we are trying to figure out all the stuff that we don't know.
Great. Well, welcome.
My name's Natasha Zoe. I'm with Jarhead Kitchen. We are also in West Virginia, the southeast corner, Monroe County. We are building out a new co-pack facility that will be a wet co-pack. We're starting with high acid foods and gradually going to acidified and then juice, and then our final goal is low acid foods.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to come off mute and introduce themselves? No pressure.
Oh, sorry I'm late. My name is Catherine. I'm with the Rodale Institute and curious to learn more about the processing side of operations as we often support people interested in getting their organic certification or processing and handling.
Great. Welcome. And Catherine, you came in a little bit late, but both Liz and Kate at the Western Mass Food Processing Center are available for questions even after the webinar. So feel free to reach out to them.
Thank you.
Okay, if nobody else wants to introduce themselves, I'll welcome you and I will actually hand things over to Liz to get us kicked off here.
All right, first I'm going to do is share my screen. All right. Can you all see that?
Not yet.
Not yet, huh? Screen 2.
There we go. It's coming.
How about now?
There we go. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So this is workshop 4. We're going to talk about getting certification ready. I have a lot of slides in this deck. Some of them we'll just kind of breeze over. I just wanted you to get a better sense of some of the things that will be required. And I'm going to give you some resources, and I do, Laura, you can give me a email list of the people that are in this,
Yes.
because I do have some other resources that I would like to send you after this, including like organic certifiers and some other resources. I just, you're not, they'll be really small print here, but I do have some better resources to share later on via email. So we are going to just start. So what we're going to cover today is OMRI, the Organic Integrity Database, which will be your best friend. We're going to whiz through a sample organic system plan. We're going to look at a single ingredient product profile. We're going to look at organic product profile. We're going to talk about traceability. We're going to talk about organic certifiers in the Mid-Atlantic up to the Northeast. And we're going to go a little bit about like what an inspector going to want to know, what its inspector going to do. We're going to use traceability as an example of what that inspector might do when they're inspecting you. So first thing we're going to talk about is OMRI. So OMRI is the Organic Materials Review Institute. Okay. And so what OMRI listing means is products are reviewed by this institute and found compliant for use in organic production, handling, or processing. These are not ingredients, but other inputs, like pest control, chemicals, sanitizers, all things like that. Okay. So not the finished food product. The OMRI listings will assist certifiers and processors in reviewing materials to be using in your organic system plan. So this is where you would like, oh, I want to use this sanitizer. Is it OMRI listed, or is it listed in the NOP itself, which we'll touch on later. So it improves to it. The listing is for approved inputs. And then some of the improved inputs, they also have limitations, like can only be used up to this parts per million, can only be used as pest control, and it can't be used in food, like I'm thinking of like peppermint oil, for example. So a little clarification. So OMRI listed indicates an improved input for organic systems, wherein the certifier confirms the product or operation itself. So if you're going to use some kind of input in your processing, a processing aid, you want to make sure it's OMRI listed. And so, first of all, they're a nonprofit organization. They review all these products to determine the suitability. So what an OMRI listing will include is a product-specific entry confirming the materials allowed or allowed with restrictions in organic systems. Okay, so you can find the product name, the manufacturer, what category it's in, special use classifications, the product number. So some of the things that I've already touched on that are relatives are sanitizers, parasitic acid-based, hydrogen peroxide-based are allowed, often with restrictions, and those restrictions would be listed. So processing aids, we've talked about filter aids and enzymes and defoamers, and then cleaners, CIP cleaners, that alkaline acid cleaning compounds. These are important due to residue risk. We talked about like a hard surface or a pot and pan or a dishwashing, because they're rinsed afterwards. There's no residue risk as long as they're rinsed properly. So those items don't necessarily have to be OMRI listed. It does not replace any kind of certified approval. So basically, if it's listed in OMRI, it's been reviewed and is allowed to use, but you have to understand the restrictions. And I think I have an example next. Okay, so these are some examples of OMRI listings. We talked about these cleaners. So an example is an example OMRI listing here. This says product name, SaniPro PAA sanitizer. It gives the manufacturer. It tells what category it's in. This category is handling and specifically sanitizing. And the status is allowed with restrictions. And the restrictions for this product is must be used with label directions, and residue levels must not contaminate organic product. So must be used with label directions. Use the label directions will specify a parts per million. So you want to be testing for that parts per million, either using titration or readily available testing strips, because you want to make sure that if it's only approved to be used in organic processing up to 80 parts per million, you're not using it at 300 parts per million. And this goes back to FDA and food safety plans, because it's parallel to this is you want to make sure you're sanitizing at the proper ppm, and because if it's too much, I mean too little, you're not sanitizing, you're not killing the pathogens that you're trying to control. And if it's too much, it could be dangerous to people, it could be dangerous to the food, it could eat your equipment. Sodium hypochlorite, which is a bleach solution at a too high of a concentration, will eat through stainless steel, or leave holes in your clothes. I seem that for a while we used sodium hypochlorite here. I swear to God, every time I got a new pair of pants, something would happen with that system. I would have to change the bucket. I would spill it on my pants and get it would eat through the pants and leave a hole. It was inevitable if I got new pants. So that's about OMRI. Again, in the handout I have, it shows how to access that database. This we're going to spend a little more time on. This is the U.S. Organic Integrity Database. This is fairly new. Before this came out, basically tracking down organic certificates and what was certified organic by who was like the Wild Wild West. Some people closely guarded their organic certificates, and you had to talk to 8 different people for them to send them to you. Every farm you had to work with, you had to get them out of the fields and get them into their office to send you their organic certificate and the list of what they were certified for organic. You don't have to do that anymore. The USDA now has an official public database that provides you access to all that information. So you can do your due diligence and you can look up ingredients, farmers, and see that they are certified organic, who has certified them, and what they're certified for. Just because a farm is sort of certified organic does not mean that all the crops are certified organic. You want to make sure it's listed in the crops that they have been certified for. Same thing with a processor. If they make a bunch of different things, you want to make sure that it's on their certificate addendum that that product is also certified organic. This is an online database. It's very, very comprehensive, and it's been a godsend to people that have to do organic certification. This will be something that you're going to access a lot when you're tracking down your ingredients for your organic products. You'll be able to find your ingredient sources where they are on this. So this is a screenshot of the homepage, kind of the Organic Integrity Database. And here there's different searches. You can do advanced searches, but basically in this top line, you can see if you know the name of the operation or the certifier, you can even just put in the state, and it will tell you. It's a very comprehensive database. And, you can see here is the operation. Here's who certified them, where they are. This one's in Kakistan, and what they're certified as. So this one is lentils, and there's probably some other things if you went deeper into that. So this is just an amazing source. So what you're going to find in there is the operation name and location, its certification status. Some people surrender their organic certification. There was a honey producer recently that was certified organic and then said, I don't want to do it anymore. So like if you were using that honey, you had to find alternative sources. It will tell you who the certifying agent is, what the scope is. So the type of organic activity they're certified for. So, if they're just crops and livestock and not handling, then you shouldn't be buying an organic value-added products from them because they're not certified yet. And then the certified products and categories, that gets more specific. So you can actually find like the Muir Glen tomato sauce in the General Mills listing, which is humongous, by the way. General Mills makes a lot of things. So here, we're back at the organic integrity database. An example of like, I happen to know this is me. So I just put in Franklin, and I know that I am certified by Bay State Organic, and bam, there I am. I'm certified. I'm handling. Okay, and then you can go deeper into it, and this is the profile for here. Says that we're certified. We're certified in handling, and then you can actually go deeper. I didn't go deeper here, but you can go see addendum and see what products we're certified for, and you can find my organic certificate, and you can print it so that can be with your organic. If you were buying my organic tomato sauce to use in your organic pasta sauce, you could find the certificate. You could find that product is listed. So you are going to be doing this when you source your ingredients. We talked about organic product profiles, and I said find a source and an alternative source. You want to make sure that you actually can get it from the source, and then this is where you'd find the backup information that was certified. So this is just verifying organic certification. So this is an example. You're onboarding a client who claims to be certified organic. So you go into the database, you're going to find them. They're called Valley Harvest Foods. They're in Greenfield. They're certified. Who certified them? What scope? What products? What their certification date was. But then there's also limitations to the database. So you won't find full formulas. Okay. You're not going to find the organic percentages, the processing methods, their supplier lists, or their internal compliance records. So it's a verification tool. It's not a comprehensive compliance record. Okay, but you will be using it a lot. It's like one of my favorite sites. It says how boring my life is, right? Oh, let me go to the organic. Yeah. So does anybody have any questions about OMRI or about the organic integrity database? Again, on the handout, I have links to find those sources. I used to have actually a printed OMRI list, but it was a book. Anybody have any questions?
I just had a comment, Liz. Since I am an organic inspector, when I go in for inspection, I will ask the producer for their organic certificates. And generally, now that we have this database, they can just show me they've bookmarked them, or they can print them out, either one.
Yeah. For mine, I usually like grab the PDF and then put them in a folder with that processes, so that when the inspector comes, I say, yep, here's the process, here's all the organic certificates for those, and they're in one place, and very easy to access quickly. Okay, so
Thanks,
we are
Liz.
gonna talk about one more resource a little further down, and that is the actual NOP. So we're going to talk about your organic system plan. Now, I could do a 4-part 50-hour course on this. So we're going to kind of go fast, and we're going to touch on a few things. I do have the PDFs of my organic plan. I'm not even sure if it was done at the time, but just to give you an example of some of the information they're going to ask, so you can start thinking about that. But so your organic system plan is a written document. It details how a farm, but we're talking about processing. A processor or handlers will comply with the organic regs. It's the operational blueprint outlining your practices, your inputs, your monitoring, and record keeping. It's the organic system plan. It's your playbook for compliance. It says what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, when you're going to do it. And it demonstrates your adherence to the NOP standards. And just a little operational example, like a salsa processor's OSP might include improved suppliers, products, formulas, receiving procedures, cleaning protocols, batch records, traceability, all those sorts of things. It's a living document. It requires constant updating. There's a lot of times, like year by year, that things will come through the same. But, and as I show you on mine changes every year because I have working with different farms, or want to certify different products, or things dropping off. Like, when I changed my pest control company, I had to change all that. When I changed my sanitation program to a different company, we had to change all that. So this is the first page. This is Bay State Organics. Not every certifier is the same. Like I said, I'm not even sure if this one was the done one, but this is just an example. This is the first page. What are they asking for? They're asking for the owner of the facility, who's the primary contact, other authorized contacts. In my case, I have myself and Kate, and I also have our communications director and our financial and admin director, as well as our executive director as other contents. Obviously, a mailing address, the legal status of your business. We're a corporation and nonprofit. When did the company begin? How many employees you have? And then this gets into more specific things. So like what certifications do you already have in the facility? Like we have our city, we have our state, we have our certified license, we have our wholesale license, and this one asked, do you have a copy of the program manual? And then what general categories are organic products? These next 2 pages, since I submit everything separately, my categories and stuff, except this is like a list of general categories of non-organic products that are made in the same facility, and the people who make them. So this is the kind of like the product profiles. Now I submit separate ones. So this is blank, and I will show you an example of a separate one later. But this is, if you're maybe doing one thing, you would just fill it out in the application here. Lots of questions. About ingredients and what you're using. Are things labeled properly? So you have, again, we talked about the different categories of organic last week. So you have the 100% organic, you have organic, and then you have made with organic. So here is like, you're going to list maybe the things that you're doing that are going to have the made with organic label, and the other ones were organic or 100% organic. Lots of questions on that. This is byproducts. Are there any byproducts of your organic products to be sold as certified organic? Now, byproducts might be, an example might be You're taking a ginger root, organic ginger root, and you're pressing it in a juice press to get liquid out, and then you're selling the organic dry mixture that's left after the press to a organic, I'm looking at you, Jennifer, organic spice maker. And so that byproduct will have to be certified organic too. And again, now I talked about like steam and boiler additives, and this is like where it's calling out. So if the food that you're processing is going to have direct contact with steam, like in a steam cabinet or other thing, and you're using a boiler additive, like the boiler additive has to be Omni listed. And then we talk about water quality, which is, how often do you test it? If you're on a well, you're gonna have to test it more often than if you're on a municipal source. But even on a municipal source, where the city does provide a water report yearly, you still are going to have to test your water privately in the building, because the water report is just for the water up to your building. So you don't know what happens, like, lead pipes or something. So you need to test your water quality at least once a year in addition to municipal reporting. So assurance of organic integrity. We talked a lot about organic integrity and assurance of your organic integrity. How are you going to make sure that your organic, if you have organic and conventional in the same building, how are you going to make sure that they don't commingle? So I talked about process flow descriptions or flow charts. Very good in demonstrating how the organic integrity is going to be kept throughout the process, from receiving to processing to distribution. A flow chart is a very helpful visual aid. I use Lucidchart. It's a great program to do flow charts for not just this, but for food safety plans as well. We have a separate organic integrity kind of written policy that I do include in when I put in my for my certification every year. Here also, okay, we're gonna have a list. What did I say? Yes. So, and then monitoring. I talked a lot about monitoring last week. You have to monitor the organic certificates, make sure that the inputs that you're putting in are still from an organic source. Compliance documentation for non-organic ingredients. Is that processing aid still on listed? Is there a better option now? Inventories. I mean, if you're running a food processing plant or anything like that, you're doing a lot of this already. And then the pest control monitoring. We do internal pest control monitoring, but we do not do any of our own pest control. Like we have every once in a while, there's a spot in the warehouse where some pavement ants come in. So we, observe every week, and, if that happens, it goes into the log for the pest control, and they take care of actually applying the whatever kills those ants. QA programs. I mean, it's probably important that you have some kind of QA program. And that's for quality assurance if you don't know what QA is. And basically, this is that there are QA steps in the processing flow, whether it's making sure that the label is correct, which is also a requirement of like a food safety plan, especially if there's allergens involved. So you want the QA might be that, that the label has been checked against the product and that it's what it says and it's organic, and that organic label is not going on a conventional product by accident. I guess you can rate for ingredient if you're worried about ingredients, having residue pesticides. Some of the bigger processors and corporations will test for that to assure. I don't, because I'm just too small. And then here, like they want a list of equipment, and this is just some of the equipment. Because basically, if you dedicate a piece of equipment to organic processing only, then that's great. If it isn't, then you might need to demonstrate how it's cleaned and sanitized between organic and conventional, or from conventional to organic. We have nothing here that is just dedicated to organic, so it's always clean before an organic production. All right. We talked about transport companies. I mean, you want to make sure that the transport companies that you're using understand organic integrity. And again, I think I just used this example with Jennifer and Natasha when I was meeting with you, but like I talk about like gluten. I'm going to make a product, it's going to be gluten free, but I am going to get all my ingredients from a broadline supplier that is not gluten free. And all my ingredients get loaded into a truck, and it's next to the pallet that has wheat flour for the bakery down the street. And in moving around, the driver slices one of those bags open, and flour goes everywhere. Now the gluten-free integrity of your products have been compromised. Same thing with organic. If they're transporting organic and conventional together, you want to make sure like none of those tomatoes, conventional tomatoes, end up, rolling over to your organic. And that's, the trucking companies and the distribution centers should have good policies to prevent that kind of stuff. One of the things we do, organic's on a separate pallet. Organic is wrapped. Everything's wrapped before it goes out here to protect it from other contamination. And that's just part of our process. And then it talks about how are things mostly shipped. Now from here, most of our things are put in jars and bottles and capped and labeled and put in boxes, and then those boxes are wrapped and marked organic. So that's how we keep it from getting mixed with conventional stuff. Big thing on pest management. Again, this is why I just say have someone else do it. Just they will, inspect your tracks. They will make sure that the products they're using in the facility are allowed to be used in organic, and they will make sure that you have logs and chemical. And honestly, in Massachusetts, I don't know if this is national, but in a commercial building, you cannot apply a pesticide, even if you go down to the grocery store and buy the all natural organic ant spray. You can't apply it legally. You need a license to apply any kind of pesticide. So just have someone do it. Supply chain monitoring, record keeping. I talked a lot about traceability, like how are you keeping things, track of things. Like here, if I have a product coming in, I have a warehouse and inventory system. I enter it in there. It's identified or as organic at that point, so that my receiving person, when he's receiving it, he looks at it and he goes, "Oh, this is organic. I need to make sure that it is what it is, and that it's kept separate once it's received." Like I said, we're small. So literally you can kind of see the pallet coming in and going into the facility, getting processed and going back out. Bigger facilities and facilities that are maybe doing more conventional. And again, at the same time, you want to make sure that things are always inspected and marked. And like when we do organic, everything says organic from the inbound to the process record. It's got organic on it. My sanitation sheet has a thing to and it indicate that the product was organic. So we have lots of checks and balances. And then basically the last page. But so that's just the base, I know I went through it wicked quick. Like I said, I could spend hours and hours and hours on this. I don't know if you all had enough coffee yet. I may not have. So, I don't want you all falling asleep on me. Individually, you can reach out and we can go through things, how they apply directly to your facility and what you're trying to do. But that's just an example. So I mentioned it in the whole handling plan. You're going to have organic product profiles. This is for every product. Now, one of the things that we do this value added program here, and it's a plug and play, and the farmer brings the main ingredient. We supply everything else. So every farm I work with, I have to submit an organic product profile for that product, even though it's the same exact product. It's just a different source for the organic tomatoes, separate one. So there's a product name, maybe there's a brand, a different brand. This is a funny picture because they spelled, I think it's supposed to be basil. I don't know. Pasta hazel. Is hazel a word? Does anybody know if that's a real thing? I don't know. What type of thing? Its claim is organic. This one isn't 100% organic. How it's going to be packaged. Requested claim is organic. Organic percentage 96.2, and we're going to talk about how to figure that out because it's excluding water and salt, because water and salt cannot be certified organic. And then, when I put in a thing, I will put the name, and then I'll also give them a process sheet which shows how the process is done, a flow chart for every single thing, the label. So like all my labels are the same except the farm changes, but it has to be this for each item. Okay, so it's a comprehensive document detailing the product identity, ingredients, where you're going to get it from, how you're going to produce it, are there processing aids. You have to identify all that in the product profile. This is a blank organic product profile that I'm using Bay State Organics example. That's the one I'm familiar with. But you can see all the things I mentioned in the previous slide are mentioned here. So company name, date, brand or product name, the percent of organic ingredients. You can see the little one there. So excluding water and salt. And I'm going to give you a live example of one that I've done, what that means. So the ingredient, including additives. So what ingredient, is it certified? Yes or no? Who certified it? And where you're getting it from? Is it a producer, distributor, or farm? And you're going to have to find the certificates on that organic integrity database for that. If it's a non-agriculture ingredient, is it listed in the standards? And I will show you what they're meaning in a few slides down. And I mentioned this way, but if it is a non-organic agriculture ingredient, can you document that it isn't commercially available organic? This happens a lot of times with certain flavorings or colors, like a caramel color. It may just not be available organic for whatever reason. But you have to make sure that it really isn't, you're just not using that because it's cheaper. And then the percent of the finished product, any processing aids. So this is the Code of Federal Regulations where they're referring to this here section of the standards. So in the CFR, again, this is available online. You would go and find that, and this is example of agricultural or non-organic substance that are allowed as ingredients. But not on this list. You can't use it. Acid, so you see citric is here, but only if it's produced by microbe fermentation of carbohydrate substance. That sounds very, very official. But normally you can find either the company Omni listed, or it will say on it, certified for organic use. So here's an example of a very simple organic product profile. So this is like one of the farms I work for. So the company name is Hungry Bear Farm. It's a tomato sauce. It's 99.69. So if I had water in here, I would list water. Oops. I would list water, but it wouldn't be in this final calculation. And I can show you a way to figure that out. But when you are doing any sort of processing, all your ingredients need to be in weight. And you need to know what percentage of the total weight is each ingredient. Okay, so in a production plan, you would include water and salt in that percentage. But here you have to take it out. But you still need to list it if there's water and or salt in it. But this is so the ingredient is tomatoes. It's certified organic. It comes from Hungry Bear Farm. Who certifies them? Bay State Organic. And what percentage of the total is that? And then tomato paste, again, Muir Glen, it's Oregon Tithe. I never can say that word right, Laura. And then the citric acid, which I have identified that it is listed in here as allowed to be used. And then my processing aid is Parasan, which is a paracetic acid. It's certified. Well, the one I use is organic, but and where I get it and where it's listed, if that is attainable. Now, another way, this is a single ingredient product profile. I mean, there's no other ingredient but the organic ingredient. I need my coffee. So this is a little simpler form, but you can see that I'm certifying it as an organic crushed whole tomato. Certified ingredient is tomatoes. Where I'm getting from, who's certifying them, and then if I'm using processing aids. So paracetic acid, definitely going to be used to wash the tomatoes, and citric acid for all my tomato products may be added to control pH. Sometimes, tomatoes, if it's been a wet year, they have a higher pH than other years. So, does anybody any questions about any of these before I move on to other exciting things? No? All right. Is there any questions in the chat that I missed?
No, you're good.
I'm good. I feel like I'm just talking at you all. All right. All right. So I've said commingling a lot. So commingling is the mixing or allowing contact between organic and non-organic products. So there's an apple up there. You can see it has two SQ lookup. One's organic, one's not, but the apple looks the same. So I use this example a lot, but running conventional organic products without proper cleaning between runs. Like I try to avoid it, but if it is going to happen, I always do the organic first. Because organic can get, what is it? You got your chocolate and my peanut butter. Remember those old Reese's peanut butter cup commercials? Like you can get organic into conventional, but you don't want to go the other way around. And if you do have to do that, then everything needs to be cleaned and sanitized after the conventional before you do the organic. And that's with everything. Like when we used to run our IQF line, if we had organic carrots and conventional carrots the same day, like organic ran first. That's definitely, there's been no commingling. And then prohibited substances for processors using underpuse sanitizers, pest controls, processing aids. That's why the OMRI is so important to know what you can and cannot use. An example I use is you have organic flour, you've treated the bin with a fumigant, or a fungicide that isn't allowed, and it's not on the list, it's not a listed processing aid, and then you put the flour in there, well, you've just contaminated that flour. It might be fine for conventional now, but you're not going to use it for organic. And this all goes back to organic integrity, which would be in your organic integrity plan. Does anybody have any questions about that? I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, McDonald's came out with a new burger. It was like the Arch Deluxe or something, but it kept the hot side hot and the cold side cold. Ever remember that? It's when they still use those styrofoam containers, but the idea was to keep the hot away from the cold until you put them together. Same thing. Keep conventional and organic separate. Now, mass balance. How's everybody with math? You've all had enough coffee to do math? So this is, I mean, Laura, this must be your favorite activity all the time, right?
Yes, and we constantly train on more examples of this every year.
Yes. So mass balance is something that when you are inspected that the inspector might do. And basically your numbers have to add up. What you purchased organic must reasonably match what you made and sold as organic. Okay. It's not just an inventory count. It integrates with the traceability, the batch records and sales data so that to make sure that there's believability in your organic claims. Okay. So I have an example here. A processor buys 1,000 pounds of organic tomatoes and 100 pounds of organic onions. The records must account for those inputs through yield, loss, waste, storage, and finished product sales. There's discrepancies like a sale suggesting 1,500 pounds of ingredients used. It doesn't match. You only got 1,100 in. Can indicate a compliance issue. So this is, a drill down on that traceability. And also understanding about yields and loss in your products. There's going to be loss through processing. There's going to be loss through just taking that raw agricultural commodity ingredient and dicing it up. There's going to be loss. So you need to really understand and be able to demonstrate that to the inspector if they don't, some of them already have like their formulas. Can you tell like the percent loss of a tomato that's diced off the top of your head, Laura? Yeah. So some of them do, or some processes are pretty standard. I actually, do I have it? Yes. I actually love this book. It's very helpful. It's called, where do you see it? It's called The Book of Yields. It's not going to focus. Okay. It's called The Book of Yields. And this is a resource that helps you understand what yields might be for processed foods at a number 10 cans. So a book like this, or, the thing is like, there's so many online resources right now that could help you, to understand, so that you can understand too, that if you put in 1,000 pounds of tomatoes, you should get 92% of that out. And don't quote me on that. Just Laura might know off the top of the head. I don't. So you need to account for that. And you can do it as a little exercise for yourself. If you are expecting this much yield and you got this much yield, well, why? And educate yourself with that, and then when the inspector comes, you can demonstrate why you got 1,100 pounds of product in and you made 1,200 pounds, because there was water or something. But understanding that, and kind of auditing yourself on that, will help for problems down the line. It will help avoid problems down the line. So good to know. Traceability, I keep on saying, oh yes, Natasha.
So are they looking, excuse me, for exact numbers going across, or can you have extra loss in the system? So for example, if I'm using an organic citric acid, um, can I use that in my non-organic production also?
Yes, but you want to make sure that like less is usually better explained than more. So if you got in 50 pounds of organic citric acid and all the things you use said that you would have needed 70 pounds of organic citric acid, where the other 20 pounds come from? So that goes back to your traceability. You can say, oh, I got another order in from due to energy is here. Laura, you don't really check if there's like, because the storage also, like, well, I have some in inventory, but
Yes,
they
well,
don't.
actually, that's a good point because um, inventory records of the ingredient and finished products are required by most certifiers. I know Bay State does require at least once a year so that a
Yep.
mass balance can be achieved. And if you are using an organic ingredient for a non-organic production, you need to be able to track that too so that your mass balance balances.
Yeah. So it's all about traceability and record keeping. You just need to show where those went. So
So if I take sugar out of uh inventory and allow um employees to use that in their sugar, I need to document that as a loss.
yeah, I mean, you may say like 1% of the sugar, all the sugar I get during the year is used in the employee break room.
Okay.
And just have that, like I said, educate yourself and do the exercises so you can tell. Like you can tell, well, if I'm dealing with Roma tomatoes, there's a 95% yield. If I'm dealing with field tomatoes, there's an 89% yield. Understanding that through the process from receiving to distribution of the final product, so that when they do a mass balance, you can provide the like, I have no idea what they're talking about. I don't know. Is this paper? Is this paper you want? No, you'll have it all done. You're like, this came in. This is how many pounds. We weighed it when it came in too. Because a lot of times, like the farmer might say, "I have a really good scale." We have this a lot. The farmer doesn't have a great scale. They said they're dropping off 1,000 pounds of tomatoes. We get them here. It's 1,200 pounds. So we document that as a receiving thing, that it was actually 1,200 pounds. We make that correction on the sheet that shows what came in, um, notify the farm, and then can process it through. So if there is a mass balance, and we can say, well, the farm said 1,000. You can see here we weighted it was 1,200. Here's where we notified the farm. Little traceability there, and like, okay, we got 1,200 jars. Everything's good. But like, uh, yeah, because this, and we do this all the time with all our produce, is that we weigh it on our own scales when it comes in, and we document that. Because if say you went with that 1,000 pounds, you didn't document it, and then you made 1,200 pounds of how you like, that's not going to match. So you want to make sure, and like at that time, batch codes, traceability, talk about traceability. So you're going to need to be able to track the ingredients backwards and forward. Okay, so where did that organic ingredient come from? When it's received, if it's a fresh ingredient, like we assign a batch code here. If it's a packaged ingredient, it's going to come in with a batch code that should be indicated on the invoice or whatever receiving record you had, what batch code that was. Okay, not all, some distributors and broadline distributors will actually put organic lot numbers on the invoice or the receiving document or the packing list, which is helpful, but not all of them do. So that's up to you. When it comes in, you get some dried spices from Pacific, Star West. They're organic. When it comes in as part of your receiving process, those batch codes should be recorded on some document, either on the invoice itself, keep the invoice, or as a separate receiving document saying this shipment from Star West contained organic basil, lot, blah, 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 lot, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then when you're producing that product, you're going to record the batch or lot number of that ingredient on your production record and how much you used. This goes back to the mass balance. It goes back to traceability. And then normally when you're producing something, you're also going to assign a batch lot code you have to that product. Okay, so if the organic inspector comes and says, okay, I'm gonna pull out this sheet of production, and they said, okay, you use the basil. Okay, where'd the basil come from? You need to go show, okay, here's the basil, here's what it came in, here's how much came in, here it is on the production sheet, the lot match, and then going forward, that went into this batch that went out. And that is so important. And it's not just important for organic integrity, but from a food safety standpoint, you need a recall plan. Okay. So this falls into that, because if you used black pepper in your recipe that was then recalled for some reason, you need to know, did I buy that black pepper, that lot number that they're recalling? If I did, where is it now? What products is it in? Because those products now have to be recalled. So traceability is so important. So, and it provides that paper trail, part of the audit trail that the inspector is going to look for when they're doing the mass balance, and that you're using organic ingredients and using the organic ingredients that you said you're using. So important. So I'm going to use an example. This is an organic applesauce to ensure compliance and prevent commingling. So step one, we're going to receive the ingredients. We track the receiving, the lot numbers, the sugar, the lot numbers, and you want to make sure that those are organic. So like for my receiving, like I would say I'm expecting 50 pounds of organic sugar from here, this brand. Okay, because when you do your organic product profile, you've specified a brand and a place you're getting that from, and an alternative. So you want it to be from one of those two places, and you want to make sure they didn't sub something on you. And then you produce, and like I said, you're going to create a new batch that batch went into. This is very simple. Note the processing date, what CCPs you use. CCPs are critical control points, if anybody doesn't know that, and what your yield was. And then the unique lot code is applied to each jar, linking it to the ingredients. So you're like creating these linkages back to the source and to the distributing. And then the documentation that you have where you shipped how many of those organic applesauces lot went to what distributor, what date. Okay. Anybody got any questions about like traceability or ways to record things? I mean, if you're not, you could just do a simple spreadsheet. There's templates online. There's software. It depends on what level you're at. So
I can send an Excel sheet, which would enable people to see how that works in a real calculation.
Absolutely.
For
That'd be
mass
great.
balance.
Mass balance. Jennifer, do you have a question?
Yes, I'm just curious, with your size operation, do you use software? for your traceability?
I use software for my traceability, but because we have so many moving parts, and we're trying to get audit ready, third party audit ready. So I do use software. It's very complicated software because there's all my production planning too and all my inventory. But that has allowed me to very specifically call out organic ingredients. I mean, before that, I mean, literally we'd get an email or I'd write it on the right piece of paper and hand it to the receiving guy, like organic this coming in. But now we're a little more official and then in the program itself, we can trace this traceability tools in the program. But like I said, and it's you can just simply do it with a Excel spreadsheet to start. We also used a very simple online like inventory management. It was like Sortly or something it was called in the beginning when we were doing frozen vegetables. Um, the amount of paperwork that you can produce, it's just insane. Like every production, I have like 10 pieces of paper, and then it's on my desk, and then it's we started scanning everything in, just because I was like literally like that picture, the person with the piles of paper all falling down. That was me. So you
And
can digitalize, but keep the originals.
what software do you currently use?
It's a program called Cashmere. There's other ones out there like Fishbowl. QuickBooks has an inventory module you can use. Cashmere was a smaller company, and they were small enough where they could change some of the things for our quirkiness because we did so many different things. Which is why we went for them with them. It's not a perfect system by any means, but it's light years ahead of what we were doing before. But I have like 3,000 items in that inventory list between all my different producers. So,
Thank you.
yeah. All right. So here's Laura, the really short haircut. Um, so this is just kind of what the inspector might do. So this is about traceability. So demonstrating compliance from source to shelf. They might do a trace back, which is what I was saying. Like they might pull a production sheet and say, this tomato paste in here, show me going backwards how much came in, what was a lot, does it match the lot that came in? If you write lot 425 here and you only receive lot 625, it's like, where'd this come from? Okay. Then you have the forward trace. Again, where did things go? What went in it? Where did it go? This is really important for recall too. So, and then the traceability, that it ensures that real organic ingredients were used in your product that you are certifying organic. As smaller producers, this is a little easier for us to demonstrate. We're not buying truckloads of organic sugar. Well, maybe, Natasha's going to take over West Virginia. Watch out, Jennifer. So, she might be. So potential failures, okay? Like these are common issues, missing lot numbers. It wasn't written down on receiving, so you have no way of proving that lot number you used in that item when you produced it is one that you received. Okay. Disconnected records between ingredients and batches, again, same kind of thing. And if you can't link your batches back to shipments, and you don't have organic verification that the ingredients and or distributor was organic. That's why I create folders. I put all that in a folder, so when the organic inspector comes, I can now these are digital folders. I can pull it out. Here's the organic certificate. Here's the invoice. I keep everything in one place, so it's easy to demonstrate that. So And these are most of and the inspector, when they come, they're also going to inspect your facility and make sure that if you say you're using a periacetic acid sanitizer, they're going to say, well, show me it. Show me the concentration. They might also want examples of other logs or other record keeper you're doing. And then they most likely would do a mass balance and a traceability exercise. But if you've kept your records and your records are in good shape, you don't have to worry about that, because I know you're all gonna make sure they are. Is This is one of the things I said. This is really small writing. Get really close to your computer. This is basically these are the Northeast into Mid-Atlantic certifiers. And I think I took out any ones that only does like livestock or crops. These are all ones that do handling. And you can see where they operate, what states they operate in. I mean, there's a lot of considerations when you want to choose your certifier. Where they're located is one of them, but I mean, most of the things are digital now. Um, they all have different price structures. Is that right, Laura? Yeah. They all seem to have different price structures
That's
and
right.
fee schedules. So that's something to consider. Like Clemson University may have a better fee schedule than the Global Organic Alliance. So you want to, think about at your scale of business, what you can afford to pay. Like I'm guessing some of this are are there any small certifiers anymore? I just feel like, I mean, I was very surprised, like all the different areas that each of these certifiers took care of. Like I used to think Bay State Organic certifiers was smaller, but look at all the states they certify in. Arizona, like what? Um, so, and each certifier is going to have, I mean, the paperwork is going to be about the same, but each one of them are going to have different formats. The information they're going to want is about the same, that I've kind of outlined quickly here. So that's all I have. Like I said, we could spend weeks and weeks and weeks on this, going line by line and actually discussing it. This was a really quick overview to give you an example on some things, and I hope I hammered home traceability. So does anybody here got any questions now?
I'm sure
You
their
all
head,
ready? You
I'm
all
sure
ready to go
their
out
heads
and
are
be
full.
organic certified?
As I mentioned earlier, you don't need to do these applications, these organic system plans on your own. Right now, you've got Liz and Kate, and I also help a lot of processors to review their plans before they go into a certifier. So that's part of my job with the Transition to Organic Partnership Program. Um, and I do find it helpful, and so does the certifier, to have somebody review it that sort of knows the drill and can catch anything that may be a question. Um, I think part of it is that they want you to make sure to answer all of the questions. Don't leave any blank. If it doesn't apply, say doesn't apply. And make sure to attach all of the accessory items that need to be attached. So there is help, so don't think you have to do this alone.
Yeah. And like I said, like your labels, there's people out there that review them for them. Sometimes even the certifier, you can send it to them and say, is this right? Depending how busy they are, they might get back in and say no or yes, or um and again, like there's no shame in going out to someone and say, I have no idea what to answer here. Like, how does this apply to me? You have resources, use them. Like, go explore that organic integrity database. I found it very interesting. Again, what's my life like? And then Omri, and then I mean, if you really want some dry reading, go to the Code of Federal Regulations and read the whole organic code. That's fun stuff. Really fun. You can like, be like the life of a party telling people, hey, do you know what an organic processing aid is? So, but I'm available. This is my email address. Actually respond to emails is the best because I can do it all times a day. Because you see when I'm here, I'm inundated with, fires literally. So
Yes, so I will make the presentation available to everybody. Liz, if you want to just send that over to me, I'll make
absolutely.
sure everybody has it. And if you want to stop sharing for a second, and I was just going to pull up the Excel sheet that I can send folks that is, I think, can be very helpful when it comes to mass balance exercise. This I created for a processor that needed our help, um, which I always tell people when I go in for an inspection that there are 6 data points the inspector is going to look at or want you to pull, and they are highlighted in yellow on this sheet. Um, on the left-hand side is the ingredient that the inspector chooses will be the ingredient that is the sole focus of the mass balance. So in this case, these are green coffee beans, the one ingredient in a coffee roaster operation. But let's just say it could be flour, it could be sugar in your product, it could be a fruit, whatever it might be. The inspector also chooses the dates of the mass balance. So the more often you do inventory, the less time frame the you would have to do this mass balance. So for example, Bay State does require an operation to do an inventory at least once a year. Great. So we compare the one last year to the one this year. But that could be 12 months apart. And so there's a lot that happens in a year about receiving ingredients and producing ingredients and shipping and selling ingredients. So it makes the mass balance a lot more complicated when the time frame is a year. So I always urge people that are looking for help to do it more often. If you have time to do it once a month, great. If you have time to do it once a quarter or even twice a year, it makes it a lot easier. So in this case, this particular date range was about 7.5 months. The starting inventory on 1/1 would be reflected here. This would come from your inventory reports. The amount you received in your receiving log between January and 8/20 would be here. This comes from your receiving records. And the ending inventory, this would be your ending inventory for 8/20. And in this particular example, this is from, the Bay State inspection report, but all inspectors are required to do a mass balance exercise on every inspection. So you will be asked for these data points so that they're not expecting you to show them this mass balance. That's not what they want you to do. They're expecting for you to show them each individual record, and then they will do the calculation. The inspector will. So this calculation, you can see right here, this number right here is this equals starting inventory plus the amount received minus the ending inventory is this amount that was used, the green beans that were used. And just ignore this piece right here for a second. We'll go over to the finished product. The finished product in a coffee roaster is a roasted bean. So the quantity that was delivered or shipped to the customer is here. That comes from your sales records. And then the starting inventory of your finished roasted products, in this case, this would be, let's say if we were doing sugar, this would be your jam. How many jars of jam do you have on the shelf? So you need to do inventory of both your ingredients and your finished products, and then the ending inventory. And this one would tell us how much was shipped or made based upon this calculation. You'll notice 8711 is a lot lower than 10,662. And this is what the inspector is comparing. But in the case of a coffee roaster, they lose about 16, sometimes up to 20% of their weight if it's a very dark roasted coffee. So we take off some roast weight loss, and we then are comparing 8,947 pounds to 8,711 pounds. And then what is that percentage? It's only a variance of 3%. So this would be a successful mass balance. So I think that I'd be happy to send you this sheet, and you could try this yourself if you so choose, but it is something that is required on every inspection. Okay, let's see if we have any other questions. Okay.
I have a question, Laura. Can you
Mhm.
walk me through that or let me walk through and make sure I understand that?
Sure.
So I have my sugar on hand January 1st. I have how much I have received to date from January 1st until the inventory till the inspection. And I have what I have on hand for the inspection. Then I have the inventory of products January 1st, how much on my bill of ladings I have sent out the door or invoices or whatever, and I have how much I have on hand the day of the inspection. Now, then, I need to know how many grams of sugar have been in every one of those jars and make
That's
sure
correct.
that matches my production record. And then I take into account my known losses. Like I have a 1% loss due to, you know, coffee drinking, and I have a 1% loss due to cleaning containers or whatever. Do I, is that accurate?
That's accurate. Yes,
Okay.
that's
Thank you for walking me
exactly
through
what you
that.
want to keep all of those things. Yes, the coffee example was a very easy example. The calculation that you mentioned about how much sugar is actually in the jam is important also, and that calculation or that percentage of the sugar in the jam um, would correlate to your organic product profile too. And so the inspector might look at that to make sure that your recipe is the same as your organic product profile in terms of the percentage of each ingredient used. So
And you
great.
also want to keep track of um, any destroyed. Say your warehouse guy dropped 4 cases off of a pallet and broke them all. Like you want to make sure there's a record of that because that could play into the mass balance as well.
So destroyed products, products given away as samples,
Right. Basically, you just want to
and
record where it went. Like,
right.
did your warehouse guy roll the whole rack off the dock and everything broke? You want to make sure you record that.
And then the percent that goes into storage for the insurance, 3 jars per batch that is held in storage.
Oh, like your yeah. So yeah, all that.
The proof.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, when we do a process at the end, we have a category called post-fill destructive or destroyed. And that accounts for any jars that either QA rejection, inaccurate vacuum, low fill temp, low fill height. Those are all recorded, so that you have a good yield and then you have a total yield, and that would go into the mass balance.
And it's probably good to talk through. I know Liz talked about traceability quite a bit, but that's the second required exercise that the inspector will do with your numbers and your records. And they'll usually want to look at a sales invoice first and go backwards all the way to the point where all the ingredients were received into your facility. So if we look at an invoice from, the last month, we might see something on there that's your raspberry jam. So we'll look at the production batch record that you have for making the raspberry jam and all the lot numbers for the raspberry and the sugar on that production batch record, the amounts that are used and the lot numbers of each one. Then we're going to go back another step and find out when those ingredients were actually received in your facility. So that comes from your receiving records. And that then they're going to want to see the invoice for the sugar and the raspberries to make sure that those came from a certified source. They'll also look at the organic certificate. And if you, by some chance, are importing it, that's a whole other ball of wax. You'll want to you always want to buy from a certified distributor or producer in the US. If you do need to import something that's organic, there are other documents that you need. So just be aware of that. Yeah, so there was a lot of good questions in the chat, and if there's any additional questions, feel free to reach out. Like I mentioned, I will send the um, the those two things, the presentation and the Excel sheet, and as well as the copy of the video.
All right.
Well,
So reach out if you have more questions, which I'm sure you will. I think someone said, I think all my questions will come up when I'm actually trying to do the certification. And yes, they will.
yeah. Well, good luck to all of you. And I just want to say thank you so much to Kate and Liz for this course. This has really been informative. And I know that for years to come, we will be looking and watching the videos and many others besides those of us here today. So great job. And I look forward to seeing you both at some point in the future.